Life doesn't always go the way you want or expect. But you know, there's help out there if you look for it. A lot of people like me, we have had a tough go of it. Some of us have made bad choices. Some of us have had bad luck and suffered loss. And a lot of us have ended up homeless. But we're not helpless. Like others, I wanted to work. I wanted to contribute. I wanted to provide for myself. I just needed someone to help me onto that new path. For me and so many others, Uplift Northwest was there with that helping hand. And I was welcomed, encouraged, guided, and supported from that day one. They saw potential in not just my past. I was hungry and they gave me food. My clothes were dirty and I was able to use their laundry. They gave me tools I needed to show up and be ready for work. And they found me jobs. They got me jobs at the stadium, and they got me jobs cleaning up our downtown streets. I washed dishes at great restaurants and my landscape yards. They connected me with so many opportunities for work in my community. Uplift Northwest has been here all along, helping tens of thousands of people like me believe in ourselves and in our own potential. For me, that means I have a job, I have my own home, and I have confidence, and I have seen a brighter future for myself. Uplift Northwest has changed my life. They've been changing lives for the past 100 years, and I know they're going to keep on changing thousands more.
Hi, and welcome to Uplift Northwest Centennial Live Series. I'm Scott Lindsay, a member of the Board of Trustees, and this is a momentous year as we celebrate 100 years of providing empowerment through employment to Seattle's most vulnerable men and women. It is my great pleasure to introduce Gina Hall, Executive Director. Together, Gina and I will share some exciting ideas for the future while we embrace our past. Gina?
Thank you, Scott. It is a pleasure to join you today. Thank you for your volunteer leadership and being part of the Uplift Northwest Board of Trustees. Welcome to everyone here today, and thank you for joining us for Uplift Northwest, formerly the Millionaire Club Charities Centennial Live celebration. Under normal circumstances, today we would have been in a large ballroom or some kind of banquet hall or in a courtyard or in a beautiful garden patio with hundreds of guests. But because of the current situation that's going on in this world, here we are yet again celebrating in this new but necessary way. So Scott, forgive me, but I'm just going to take a few minutes to celebrate Gina's way. Okay, so just forgive me, but I can't. This has been 12 years of no partying for Gina. So happy birthday to us. Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday to. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Uplift Northwest. This is 100 years. It's a big deal, okay? We have been serving the Northwest Puget Sound region for almost a century. And that's not only a big deal for our organization, but that's a big deal for this community, right? There's very few organizations that have made it to 100 years. So we have a lot to celebrate. I know I've been on, it feels like copious meetings, but for those of you who I have not had the opportunity to meet, my name is Gina Hall, and I am the Executive Director of Uplift Northwest. I was born and raised in Seattle. I grew up with lots of extended family, and trust me, we believed in celebrating. If there was a reason to celebrate, we were ready to have a party, and then we would invite everyone. So I am committed, and I've always been committed to celebrating the wins, the big wins and the little wins. And don't you think 100 years serving a community is a big win? So today is about celebrating that. I have over 20 years of nonprofit experience. I have affordable housing development experience, youth development experience, job readiness training, employment training. But at the core of what matters to me most is, right, even today, there are numerous individuals in our community who have a strong desire to better their lives. And we should help them out. We should be there and we should provide the support that they need. Lastly, I am absolutely thrilled to be joining Uplift Northwest at this critical time in our history. I just want you all to ponder a few numbers for a few minutes. So just imagine this, all right? So in December, our Seattle metropolitan area experienced 8% unemployment. That's 168,000 individuals just in this metro area out of work. Roughly 12,000 individuals are experiencing homelessness today in King County. The current economic downturn has adversely affected those already living in poverty and has disproportionately affected people of color. The pandemic alone has claimed thousands of lives across this country, including this very city. As I transition into my role at Uplift Northwest, I am mindful of the work and sacrifices of our former leaders of this 100-year-old organization. I am committed to an equitable recovery for all, and that will require every one of us to do our part. There's a Bible verse that's always resonated in my heart, and it is, "To much is given, much is required." The current state of our economy calls for action, and Uplift Northwest is committed to taking the actions necessary to make an impact in the lives of the men and women who depend on us every day for jobs and our job readiness programs. So I'm just going to share one of many stories. This is just one example of lives that are impacted every day through the services of Uplift Northwest. And this story I share with you today is about Bruce, okay? So Bruce came to Uplift Northwest, beat up, beat down. He had a pretty rough background. He had some justice involvement in his history, but he came to Uplift and he was homeless. He came to Uplift Northwest because he wanted to get his life back on track. And so we, his on paper looked pretty horrendous, but his mouth and his demeanor, he was saying he's ready to make a difference. We said, okay, well, what we need from you is we need some letters of references. We need some people to vouch for you. He came back a week later with a handful of letters of recommendations, references from people in his network that could vouch that, yes, Bruce is ready. He's committed. He's a man that he's been through some stuff. He's ready to get his life back on track. We took a chance with Bruce and we placed him with a work crew. So we didn't sit him out on a job by himself. We put him to work with a crew. He immediately excelled. He was pleasant, hard worker. He was reliable. He was quickly recommended to our next program, which is called 2.0, which provided technical and soft skills. He excelled in that program. Then we recommended him to a certification program through our partnership with Seattle Jobs Initiative. He's currently in this program. It's about 4 to 6 weeks. It's for a welder certificate. Once he graduates from this program, starting pay for welders, $28 an hour. We were also able to provide Bruce with housing through our Kasota property. Bruce is just one of many success stories. When you give somebody a chance who's ready to change their life around, the opportunities are endless. Every story of Uplift Northwest is unique, but Bruce's story of finding hope, purpose, and stability through job opportunities is one that we experience every day. We're going to show you a short video right now. I love that video. So, oh, I don't know if Scott's on here with me. Nope. Okay. Oh, so I'm going to do some more numbers, Scott. Okay. So just wanted to share. So in the last 3 years, over 2,000 men and women have enrolled at Uplift Northwest. 230 have completed job training workshops. Nearly 1,500 local employer partners have hired our workers. The workers that we placed have collectively earned $6 million. That's real money for people who are trying to get their lives back on track. The individuals that we serve have barriers, and those barriers could come in many shapes and sizes: joblessness, homelessness, trauma, poverty, hunger. The list goes on. But the men and women we serve want the same thing that each and every one of you that's on this, that's listening to this broadcast today, want. Don't we all just want a decent job so we can take care of ourselves and our family and to be treated with dignity? That's what Uplift Northwest is about. As I look forward, my vision for the future is three-pronged: to reimagine, to rebuild, and reintroduce. First of all, we've got to reimagine how to deliver our same mission. The mission has been the same for 100 years. Get them a job, get them some training, and get them back on their feet. However, last year was the worst economic downturn in recent history. We can't do it the same way. So we've got to do some research, some development, some innovation, some testing, some piloting. We've got to look for what are the new jobs that are going to be on the forefront and make sure that our workers are prepared for those new jobs. We've got to rebuild. So looking at our current curriculum, what the economic downturn has revealed is that many of folks that are living in poverty lack broad bandwidth, essentially broad bandwidth internet service, very poor quality hardware, and they lack digital literacy. So we've got to integrate digital literacy. We've got to equip them with the proper, hardware, so that they can be not only learn effectively and appropriately, but so that they can succeed in those new jobs. A lot of the jobs are going away. Some jobs are coming back, but the jobs that are coming back are automated. We need to prepare our workers for those. And then last piece of the three-prong is reintroduce. Who's not at the table? I talked about how many employers have employed our workers, but there's a bunch of employers that haven't. So we need to reintroduce ourselves not only to our employer partners, but also to workers who may not have heard about us. We want everyone to know that Uplift Northwest is here. My long-term vision essentially is we need to partner with public and private partners so that families who are living on the street is no longer an acceptable solution. With that being said, I think I've said enough, right, Scott? Sorry, I feel like I'm just going on and on.
We're only touching the beginning. We got a lot more to cover. So let me jump in, Gina, because it's so special that we have you here. And I just want to get right to, what was it about Uplift's mission that most attracted you to join this organization? You've spent 20 years in the nonprofit sector. You've seen it all. You've worked with a variety of organizations doing different missions. What is it about this mission that's so attractive to Gina Hall?
So I think there's three pieces that really has attracted me to this mission and this work, and that is jobs, education, and work ethics. My parents raised me and they just pounded this into me and my brother's upbringing: is work hard, get as much education as you can, and doors will open for you. Uplift Northwest has been around for 100 years. That also attracted me. I mean, it's obviously they're doing something right. One thing, the other piece too, when I was sharing this role and considering it, many people have been touched by the Millionaire Club, now Uplift Northwest. So people kind of know what we're doing. So it feels like we've got a strong foundation to build on. And ultimately, I found that my core value aligns with everything that Uplift is about, and that is treating people with dignity.
I love that. I love that. Gina, you have come to Uplift at such an important and momentous moment. Not only are you here beginning the next century, stewarding the next century for this fantastic organization, but our city and our region, as you touched on and we touched on in the videos, is in crisis. Homelessness is going to be, in addition to economic recovery from the pandemic, I mean, this is the defining question, struggle, challenge facing our moment, our decade here in the Pacific Northwest. And I just want to get your thoughts on, there are a lot of programs out there, a lot of initiatives, a lot of different efforts. Where does Uplift's mission and what Uplift does, where does it fit into that mix of the different efforts that are already underway?
A key phrase you use, Scott, thank you for that question, is fit in. So let's recognize that it's not one organization that's going to solve everything. This is a collective. This is a partnership. This is a continuum of support. I would say the secret sauce for Uplift Northwest is our staffing operations. We have jobs and we have job readiness programs, but we have a staffing operations that actually raises a profit for our organization. And through our staffing operations, it's a two-pronged approach. First of all, we are responding to employers' needs. They have entry-level positions that need fulfilled, and we've got workers that want to work. It's almost a perfect mix, and there's so much room for growth there. Why isn't every employer knocking at our door, number one? And then why don't we get funding so that we can even increase the job readiness and training so that we can customize some of our trainings to meet the needs of future employer partner needs? So yeah, I guess that's the short answer.
You mentioned earlier that a big part of what Uplift does is tackle the barriers that some individuals have who've been struggling with homelessness, struggling with extreme poverty, maybe criminal justice involvement in the past, that we tackle the barriers. What does that mean? I want you to dive in a little bit and explain what it means to take on some of those barriers. And also, what does it cost? What does it cost to get somebody who's out on the street, help take out, some of those barriers, and then get them to sustainable employment?
Yeah, the barriers are that's what's heartbreaking sometimes. But believe it or not, the top three barriers are housing stability. So 60% of the folks who come to us are homeless or experiencing homelessness. The second barrier that we see a lot of is just poor documentation. In order to work, you need proper ID. You need either a driver's license, a birth certificate, a passport. A lot of folks just don't have the proper documentation. And then third, mental illness. That is just, that's the part that breaks me. And the mental illness is usually exacerbated by multiple trauma, instances of trauma. And so but if you keep it into those categories, housing stability, proper documentation, and mental illness, and then you think about the story I talked to you about Bruce, who kind of, I told you that story in, less than a minute, but that's probably a 2-year process. So the cost to get someone from intake to a pathway to a credentialed job, because that's ultimately the goal. How do we get them to a livable wage job? So that can be anywhere, depending on those barriers, because that's where the costs start to ramp up. It could be anywhere from $2,000 a participant up. It just depends on how, once you peel away those, those barriers. But when you figure that cost compared to what we spend on other things in our society, the ROI on that to get a citizen back to being a productive citizen and then giving back to the community, I think it's a cost this community should be worth investing in.
Well, I agree. And that's what really sells me. When you look at just that, how low that cost is compared to get somebody sustainable out of homelessness, not to sustain them in homelessness for some extended period of time, but to get them out of homelessness, get them self-sustaining. That's really special. How many people would you like for us to be serving in 3 years?
So let me just frame that with last year, because of during the pandemic, it was about 500, but on average, we're serving about 1,000 workers. I would say in 2 to 3 years, I would say maybe double that. And to me, it's not about the number, but it's about the quality. So along with serving 2,000 workers, I would like to see 50% of them in permanent full-time positions with benefits. That's the key.
I love it. I share that goal. It's an awesome goal. The Board of Trustees wants to make this happen, and we know you're the right person to lead us there. Thank you for this great conversation, Gina. Let's keep going with the show.
All right. Thank you, Scott. This has been great. Oh, sorry, I lost my train. So I am going to introduce you to, I got to get my notes here. I'm sorry. So thank you so much again, Scott. Now I'm pleased to introduce John Richards with KEXP. Let's continue this centennial celebration.
Hi, I'm John Richards from KEXP, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about Music Heals. We truly believe at KEXP that music can heal. It started at the station when I started doing grief shows on the air each year, a tribute to my parents who passed, that later expanded to our community, who I realized really needed help getting through this grieving process. And music has always been there to help us through these tough events like grieving. It's since expanded at KEXP for different Music Heals days, including helping people with cancer, with addiction, with depression. And sometimes that music and those lyrics, they help guide us through these really troubling times. Now, I know with our friends and neighbors who are challenged with homelessness and poverty, music plays a really important role in many of those people's lives. And we're proud to present with Uplift Northwest a series of virtual events throughout Uplift Northwest Centennial Year, highlighting the critical work they're doing, as well as the impact their mission is having within our community. Uplift Northwest provides dignified jobs and job readiness services to men and women experiencing poverty and homelessness in the Puget Sound region. Uplift Northwest has operated continuously in Seattle since 1921. They were formerly known as the Millionaire Club charity, touching the lives of thousands. Now, the Music Heals partnership is something we are very proud of. It's a perfect partnership with very similar missions. And we are grateful to introduce an artist each month for something a little uplifting. So I'd like to introduce my friend, one of the most talented musicians in town, Tomo Nakayama.
Hi everybody, thanks so much for being here. My name is Tomo Nakayama, and this song is called City Won't Sleep. Bright lights, the city won't sleep in. Bright lights, I'm looking for someone. Late nights, a little bit cold, but I hold my hands into the air. We're a long, long way from home. Oh yeah, I'm a long, long way from home. First flight, I'm racing down Broadway. Face right, I'm looking for someone. Right now, the people are hard, but each one's just bursting at the seams. Came a long, long way to be. Oh yeah, such a long, long way to be. Stop, there's a little light. city won't sleep in bright lights, still searching for something. Each day the people on subways are all just working to be free, 'cause this world's for you and me. Oh yeah, 'cause it's made for you and me. And the buildings light up and the stars only red, every one of them gold. I was living alone till they found me. Stop, there's a little light gleaming. Stop, in the ground below. Stop, can you hear my heart beating? Stop, it's the sound of love. Stop, there's a little light gleaming. Stop, in the ground below. Stop, can you hear my heart beating? Oh, it's the sound of love. Stop. Ooh, I'm looking for something. Oh, it's the sound of love. Stop. 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 Oh, it's the sound of love. Thank you.
Thank you, Tomo. Thank you, John Richards. Thank you, KEXP. Please join us for future Centennial celebrations, the first Thursday of every month. And thank all of you for joining us today for Uplift Northwest Centennial celebration. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.